up, Philippines city volunteers hand out aid supplies to flood survivors in Rizal province. We see how students in Taiwan learn to adapt to their new environment through a different learning system. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Wendy Chen. Thank you for joining us. We kick off today's program in the Philippines. In August, Typhoon Tremi left a trail of destruction in Metro Manila and nearby provinces, inundating many regions and displacing tens of thousands of residents. Though a few months have gone by since the flooding, many of the survivors in San Mateo of Rizal province are still living in temporary shelters. City volunteers have continued to carry out home visitations and relief work to help the survivors. At a recent rice distribution, volunteers once again handed out aid supplies and 20 kilo bags of rice to those in need.
The houses by the river were washed away by Typhoon Tremi in August this year. Now residents can only take shelter in tents.
It always floods here every year. Even if the rain is light, this area floods and we always have to evacuate.
The typhoon has long become a memory, but city volunteers' love and care has not ceased. In the past few months, volunteers have continued to conduct home visitations, and concerned about the welfare of the survivors, they have also handed out rice vouchers. In San Mateo, Rizal province, the residents there already live in poor conditions, and the yearly rain season from June to October has not helped.
Every time it rains, we are unable to go to work. When the flood came, my house was washed away and nothing was left.
At the distribution, each household receives a blanket and 20 kilos of rice. Despite having to trudge home in mud and float on an inner tube, the residents are happy to go home with such an enormous gift.
I'm thankful to Tzu Ji who helped us and gave us these blessings. I've received a series of beautiful lessons from Tzu Ji, like camaraderie, generosity, and helping those in need.
As the night draws near, the distribution event continues on, with Tzu Ji volunteers handing each recipient aid supplies filled with the love from around the world.
In Taiwan, at the Tzu Ji Holy Liaison Office in Taichung, Tzu Ji volunteers continue their efforts to complete the prefabricated classrooms that will soon be shipped to Zamboanga of the Philippines. Whether it is grey-haired seniors or Tzu Ji sisters, everyone displays tremendous tenacity and determination as they work to ensure consistent quality and excellence throughout this project.
Currently, the Tzu Ji Holy Liaison Office is being used as the assembly point for the classrooms. Here, 250 volunteers work with speed and concentration, such as volunteer Yang Mai, who wields a grinding wheel with expertise.
After we weld it together, it will be black here, so we have to smooth it out before we can put the top coating on. It's just as the master said, we have to do this tack thoroughly.
Teams of Tzu Ji sisters work swiftly in groups of 4. With their goggles and face masks on, it's difficult to determine their age. 64-year-old Lin Xue started off knowing very little, but now has become an expert.
We just keep working at it. At first we struggle a bit, but then we got better and better at it. I've been told that I can open my own paint shop now.
This group is responsible for rectifying any defects. Now they're discussing how to correct a drill hole. Just one false step could lead to a big difference. Therefore, even with their reading glasses on, volunteers work to achieve precision. Tzu Ji volunteer Wu Cailiang shuffles between each team to see if help is needed. Whatever is lacking, Wu will make it happen. Having just undergone surgery to remove his kidney stones, Wu was back at his station that same afternoon.
I don't want to affect the entire team just because of me.
Although not all of these volunteers are professionals, Each has nevertheless displayed enormous tenacity.
All in all, there are about 10 to 20,000 spare parts.
Hence, the initial work area of 991 meters squared has expanded to 9,900 meters squared. Mobilizing the efforts and strengths of all, volunteers work tirelessly to complete their mission.
Moving to China, among the performance of the musical adaptation of the Sutra Profound Gratitude to Parents in Tianjin was a pregnant volunteer, a father and son pair, as well as many others who all recognized the importance of spreading the concept of filial piety and agreed that they have changed for the better since taking part in the show. Here in China's Tianjin, volunteers young and old come together to put on the sign language musical of the Sutra Profound Gratitude to Parents to spread the concept of filial piety.
We have practice almost every day. Everyone has to work during the day and students have to study, so at night time, we all come here to practice together.
Those who took on the roles of rebellious children in the musical were also inspired themselves to change for the better.
The manners we taught him when he was little are all coming back now. He is using words that are more polite and respectful. He will also help out with household chores. When the concept of filial piety is the core belief of a family, it will bring harmony not only to the family itself, but society as a whole.
An on-stage volunteer is determined to adopt a vegetarian diet through her pregnancy.
I want my baby to learn the concept of vegetarianism inside my stomach. If I take on a meatless diet during my pregnancy, in the future she will naturally go vegetarian.
To ensure a successful performance, the 97 on-stage volunteers spent the last 3 months learning the sign language movement and lyrics.
The most difficult part at the Sutra performance was to communicate with the locals because of the cultural barriers and the differences in dialects.
Through the sign language show, performers and coordinating staff all got a chance to cleanse their minds and at the same time inspire the seeds of goodness in the hearts of their audience. Also in China, Tzu Chi Global Volunteer Coordinator Huang Sixian arrived in Beijing at the end of October to hold seminars at the Tzu Chi Beijing Liaison Office and the Jingsi Books and Cafe. Tzu Chi volunteers, community residents, as well as entrepreneurs all came to participate and were much inspired by the talks. Here's more.
When we are all happy, the world will be in a state of harmony. The 21st century is said to be the century of the Chinese people, so we all need to work together.
Tzu Chi Global Volunteer Coordinator Huang Sixian is here in Beijing to speak at 2 seminars in hopes of spreading Tzu Chi seeds of love and compassion in the hearts of the general public.
All parents want the best for their children, even if it means sacrificing their lives. However, without knowing it, we are actually leading them down the wrong path. When we pass on, we have left them with nothing but a broken family.
Besides Tzu Chi's charity work worldwide, Huang Sixian also speaks on how to practice the organization's philosophy in daily lives. One entrepreneur who visited Tzu Chi in Taiwan in the past said he had gained much through the event.
Many of our staff have joined the nursing home and recycling events. We have also tried to make the cleaning enzymes ourselves and have been quite successful. We have made 16 buckets, each about 160 liters. The results have exceeded our expectation. Our employees have also changed a lot through taking part in Tzu Chi's events. You have inspired the compassion and goodness in our hearts.
Whether it is Huang Sixian, Tzu Chi volunteers, or those who have just joined the organization, all cherish the affinity formed today and hope it will last.
My name is Yongzhong. Like my name says, I will devote myself to Tzu Chi for the rest of my life.
Huang hopes that the participants at the 2 seminars will return home to inspire others around them and make a difference in the world they live in. Chinatown, Tzu Chi volunteers held a scholarship award ceremony at the Hunan University of Chinese Medicine to give 111 needy students the chance to continue their education. Other than handing out scholarships, the volunteers also performed the sign language song of Kneeling Lamb to remind the children to seize the opportunity to fulfill their filial duties.
母亲啊母亲，我那不读死定的母亲，那根本不是什么借据。
Through a video clip on filial piety, university students can't help but shed tears of sadness. Among the students is Huang Ting, who was reminded of her parents.
My father was hospitalized after a car accident. The first surgery wasn't successful, so he had to go through another one.
Initially, the person that caused the car accident had to pay for Mr. Huang's medical expenses. However, upon learning that the offender can't even make ends meet, the Huang family decided not to seek compensation.
Tzu Chi volunteers not only provided me with scholarship, but most importantly, they have inspired me to be thankful for all the help I've ever received.
This time, 111 students received Tzu Chi's scholarship. At the conclusion of the event, the volunteers performed the sign language song Kneeling Lamb to remind the recipients to seize every opportunity to fulfill their filial duties.
Back in Taiwan, the Tzu Chi Foundation continues to hand out Nushu scholarships to award underprivileged students who shine in school or at home. Recently, at the Yuli Jingsi Hall in Hualien, an award ceremony was held in which 177 recipients were honored. Let's take a look.
I want to thank this Tzu Chi uncle next to me, who took care of my family while I was away at school.
In Hualien, Taiwan, Tzu Chi volunteers recently held another Nushu Scholarship Award ceremony. Among the recipients were Zhen Yijun and her brother, both winners in the Scholastic Achievements category. While on stage, Zhen took an opportunity to speak words close to her heart.
I want to make sure I get better grades and in the future become a nurse who is an expert in her field, has an eye for detail and cares for my patients.
Another pair of sibling recipients is Tian Xiaoqi and Tian Xiaofeng. Together, they shoulder the responsibility of taking care of their great-grandmother and grandparents.
The seniors are older, so they are often sick and will have to visit the hospital. However, the two sisters don't complain about taking care of them. It's very moving how much love they show.
At the Yuli Jingsi Hall, 177 winners gathered to receive their scholarships. Each recipient is filled with a heartwarming story, which stands to inspire the other students.
This event is a good opportunity to expose children to this type of activity and also can motivate them to work to meet their educational goals. The children can also share this time with others to encourage them as well.
As a way to reciprocate the love and care they received, scholarship recipients also don't forget to bring their bamboo coin banks and pay forward the encouragement received from Tzu Chi.
Over the past few decades, the liberalization and diversification of education have been two key issues in Taiwan's educational reform. Against this backdrop, alternative schools set up by NGOs have emerged as a result. Today, we go to the Xinxian Seedling Experimental School in Wulai district of New Taipei City to see how teachers there teach their students with materials found in the nature and how they have transformed their campus into a learning environment for exploration. Here's more.
Located in Wulai district of New Taipei City, Xinxian Seedling Experimental School is an educational Shangri-La for this remote area.
你可以看它这里，它这里会动。
哦，动的话就是活的，有啊，
这是装子的话，它是脖子这边脖子。
它是蟾蜍还是青蛙？
蟾蜍。
A toad in its natural habitat can be a useful teaching source as students learn about nature and life.
陆老师，对，然后如果你要养，你也要会。
If you want to raise it as a pet, you have to learn how to raise it first or it will die soon.
Unlike traditional schools, students here are not bound to their classroom, but instead are allowed to explore each corner of the campus grounds.
We create the safe environment where students and their teachers can live together and learn from one another.
在生活的过程里面，你会遇到学习。
Wang Weining, who is 34 years of age, has been a teacher at this school for 9 years.
The purpose of the Seedling Experimental School is to create a learning space. Children here will not be overwhelmed by textbooks. Since it is a learning space, I myself have learned and changed a lot.
在这里，我也获得很多的改变。
Learning naturally is one of the most attractive features of alternative schooling. The formation of alternative schools in Taiwan was a reaction to the traditional book-based educational system. Therefore, in the early days, these schools were more or less built as an experiment.
The Seedling Experimental School features self-conscious learning and autonomous learning. To extend alternative education to secondary school level, we transfer the experience of the Seedling Experimental School to Beizheng Junior High School.
The autonomous learning scheme was introduced to Beizheng Junior High School in 1998. However, following incessant controversy, the scheme was shut down in 2006. This program remains the first and the last educational experiment at the secondary school level in Taipei. The choices of alternative schooling and the experimental classes have given parents different options for their children. Liao Weijie, who was a graduate of the Forest Elementary School 11 years ago, now is a teacher at the school. She says she and her classmates didn't find any difficulty in adapting themselves to a traditional education system.
I remember that my elementary school teachers spent a lot of time helping me find a suitable secondary school. They thoroughly studied the ethos of the schools and their curriculums. My class has 10 graduates and we all studied at traditional junior high schools.
Despite worries from parents, children who grew up in an alternative education system developed the ability to adapt to the heavy schoolwork found in the traditional education system. Here, there are no massive demonstrations or reform, yet the silent education revolution is underway.
In Taiwan, Central District team of doctors and city volunteers recently visited care recipient Mrs. Zhang, who lives in a mountainous area of Taichung's Dongsi district. Deeply moved by the love and care of the medical staff and volunteers, Mrs. Zhang's husband, who is a banana farmer, offered his harvest as a token of appreciation. Meanwhile, to continue the cycle of love, the couple donated their spare change to the bamboo coin bank to help those in greater need.
Walking into the house with bags of rice and supplies, today Tzu Chi volunteers are visiting the Zhang family.
We need to be grateful. This rice can make sure your family don't go hungry.
Volunteers present Mrs. Zhang with a photo that was taken during the Tzu Chi year-end blessing ceremony earlier this year. In the meantime, another volunteer explains to the couple the meaning behind Tzu Chi's bamboo coin bank and encourages them to contribute their love.
I wish everyone happiness and safety.
For the past 10 years, Mrs. Zhang had to undergo 3 surgeries to remove the bone spurs in her body. With team of Dr. Cai Wenfang's attentive care, Mrs. Zhang has slowly recovered from her sickness. To express his gratitude, Mr. Zhang offers the volunteers a string of bananas.
He especially saved the bananas for all of us. I'm so happy because he told me that we are good friends. I need to give my friend a hug.
Thanks to regular home visitations, the medical staff, volunteers, and care recipients have become good friends. The volunteers say being able to inspire care recipients' giving hearts have brought them tremendous happiness.
Moving to the offshore island of Penghu, the county government recently invited city volunteers to introduce recycling concept to their community volunteers. During the meetings, volunteers encouraged everyone to reduce the use of plastic bags and also demonstrated how to make a natural cleaning agent out of fruit peels.
It's easy to sing along to a Tzu Chi song, but making a cleaning agent is not that easy. Aloe, orange peels, and salt. The audience takes note of all the ingredients necessary to create a natural cleaner.
This is a natural cleaning agent that doesn't harm the body. Neither is it toxic for our rivers and oceans. It is environmentally friendly.
Today, the Penghu County government invited Tzu Chi volunteers to share with everybody different ways to protect the planet. If the vendor uses 1,600 plastic bags a day, then per year it's over 500,000, which is quite a worrisome number.
When the figure of how many plastic bags people use is compared to the height and volume of Taipei 101, then the number gets even scarier.
Some community volunteers don't know the different ways of practicing recycling, like taking a reusable bag alone when going out shopping, and so they end up using more plastic bags and creating more garbage.
At the end of the meeting, every participant receives a bottle of natural cleaning agent, giving them an opportunity to do their part in protecting our Mother Earth.
In Siling district of Taipei, Lei Wuxi-er and her two granddaughters live in a cluttered environment. As Lei recently suffered a leg injury, their home has been left unattended and is in a state of disrepair. On November 2nd, more than 60 volunteers arrived to help clean their home. The volunteers' selfless giving spirits deeply moved Lei, who promises to join their ranks once she recovers from her injuries.
There is limited space inside the Lei home as there is clutter everywhere. Today, more than 60 volunteers have arrived to help rid their home of this clutter. The garbage truck has made 2 round trips from the house, and the recycling van has collected 3 tons worth of items, but they're far from done.
She has a lot of things stacked away in her house, but she can't move them because she has a leg injury. Also, with the humidity and mold in the house, the family often suffers from colds, so I come see them when I can.
With the home in a state of disrepair, every time it rains heavily outside, it's drizzling indoors as well. Lei Wuxi-er has as a result slipped down the stairs twice from the wet floor. Tzu Chi volunteers brought tools to help repair the leaks.
I was surprised to see so many people here today. So many of you came, and I thought to myself, I haven't contributed anything to Tzu Chi, and yet you are so nice to us. How can I repay your kindness? I feel so embarrassed.
I initially thought there were just going to be 10 or 20 of us, but 60 came instead. I was astonished seeing the volunteers, many of whom might not be professional painters. You can tell by each one's actions that excellence truly can be achieved by being mindful.
As if she had returned to a new home, Lei was moved and surprised to see how clean her home had become. She promised that once her injuries have healed, she will join the volunteers to help others in need.
We stay in Taiwan at the end of the show but move to Miaoli's Zuolan town to join Central District team of medical staff at the regular free clinic held for the local residents. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. Goodbye.